In December 2015, a group of Silicon Valley's most powerful minds gathered to make a promise to the world. They founded a company with a very specific, very noble name, OpenAI. But today, OpenAI is not so open anymore. The mission was simple, almost utopian. They warned that artificial general intelligence, machines smarter than humans, could be the most dangerous technology ever created. If it fell into the hands of a single corporation, it could lead to tyranny. If it was built for profit, it could cut corners on safety. So, they wrote a charter. They pledged to build this technology for the benefit of all humanity. They pledged to be transparent. They pledged to share their research freely so no single entity could hoard the power of God. They registered as a nonprofit. They had zero product, zero revenue, and zero intention of becoming the next Google or Apple. That was the promise. Today, 10 years later, that promise is dead. The company that swore to democratize AI has become the most secretive, most aggressive, and most closed technology firm on the planet. They have locked their doors, hidden their code, and handed the keys to the biggest corporation in the world. What happened? How did a non-profit dedicated to saving humanity turn into a 150 billion profit machine? Was this a necessary evolution, or was it a conspiracy from the very start? The first crack. To understand the conspiracy, you have to look at the money. For the first few years, OpenAI ran on donations. Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, they put in millions. But building a digital brain is expensive. You need supercomputers. You need data centers that burn enough electricity to power a small city. You need to pay researchers million-dollar salaries so they don't go to Google. By 2018, the donation jar was empty. The nonprofit model was failing. This is where the first crack in the foundation appeared. In early 2019, OpenAI did something that sounded like a technicality but changed everything. They created a capped profit arm. They said, "We need investors, but we promise to cap their profits. We'll pay them back, and then everything else goes to humanity." It sounded fair, but it was the moment the vampire was invited into the house. Almost immediately, Microsoft walked in with a check for $1 billion. Now, pause and ask yourself, does Microsoft, a ruthless, publicly traded titan, give away $1 billion for charity? No. They buy access. Suddenly, the open part of the name became inconvenient. If you are open source, your competitors can see your code. If you are open source, Microsoft can't have a monopoly. The shift was subtle at first. When they built GPT-2 in 2019, they famously refused to release the full model. They claimed it was too dangerous for the public. They said they were protecting us from fake news and spam. At the time, we believed them. It felt responsible. Look at these good guys, we thought, sacrificing attention to keep us safe. In hindsight, that wasn't safety. That was a dry run. They were testing the waters to see if the world would accept a closed AI. And we did. We applauded them for it. The Microsoft Stranglehold. The real betrayal happened in 2020 with GPT-3. This was the model that woke the world up. It could write poetry, code, and essays. It was a revolution. And true to their name, you might expect OpenAI to publish a paper, release the weights, and let the scientific community study it. Instead, on September 22, 2020, Microsoft announced they had secured an exclusive license to the underlying code of GPT-3. Let that sink in. The nonprofit founded to prevent one company from monopolizing AI had just sold a monopoly on their best technology to Microsoft. If you were a researcher at a university, you couldn't see how it worked. If you were a competitor, you were locked out. The only way to access it was through an API, a paid toll road owned by OpenAI. Elon Musk, who had already left the board by then, saw the writing on the wall. He tweeted, "OpenAI is essentially captured by Microsoft." He called for them to be renamed Closed AI. This wasn't just a business deal. It was a hostile takeover of the mission. The researchers who joined OpenAI to save the world were now effectively employees of the Azure Cloud Division. The black box, GPT-4. Fast forward to March 2023, the release of GPT-4. By now, the mask was completely off. When OpenAI released the technical report for GPT-4, it was a joke in the scientific community. In the past, a technical report would tell you the architecture, the training data, the number of parameters. It's how science advances, by sharing knowledge so others can verify it. The GPT-4 report contained none of that. It explicitly stated, "Given the competitive landscape and the safety implications, this report contains no further details about the architecture, hardware, or training." They didn't even pretend it was for safety anymore. They admitted it. The competitive landscape. Translation: we want to make money, and we don't want Google to know how we did it. This is the black box era. We are now using the most powerful intelligence in human history, and we have zero idea how it works. We don't know what data they stole to train it. Did they use your private emails? Did they use copyrighted books? We don't know. We don't know why it refuses to answer certain questions. Is it safety, or is it political bias programmed by a corporate board? We don't know if it's becoming dangerous, because independent scientists can't look under the hood. They have effectively privatized the future of human intelligence. The silence of the lambs, the NDAs. But the conspiracy isn't just about code, it's about people. To keep a secret this big, you need to silence the people building it. In early 2024, a scandal broke that proved just how ruthless OpenAI had become. Leaked documents revealed that when employees left the company, they were forced to sign draconian non-disclosure agreements. These weren't normal NDAs. These agreements said that if you ever criticized OpenAI, even years in the future, they could claw back your vested equity. Imagine working there for 4 years. You earn millions of dollars in stock. You leave because you think the AI is becoming dangerous. But if you say a word, they can seize your life savings. They held their own employees hostage to ensure silence. Why would a company dedicated to the benefit of humanity need to threaten its researchers with financial ruin? What were they so afraid of them saying? Sam Altman later apologized, claiming he didn't know about the clause. But signatures on the document suggest otherwise. This was a systematic attempt to make sure that the only story the world heard was the one OpenAI's marketing department wanted to tell. The exodus and the warning. Despite the threats, the people who know the most are fleeing the ship. In May 2024, Ilya Sutskever left. Ilya wasn't just an employee. He was the chief scientist. He was the soul of the company. The man who arguably made GPT possible. He didn't leave to start a rival product. He left to start a company focused purely on safety. Days later, Jan Leica, the head of the super alignment team, resigned. This was the team responsible for stopping AI from going rogue. His resignation letter was a chilling warning to the world. He wrote, "Safety culture and processes have taken a backseat to shiny products." He said his team was struggling to get computer time. They were sailing against the wind. Think about that. The team in charge of preventing the apocalypse was begging for resources, while the product team was given everything they needed to ship the next chatbot. This confirms the darkest fear. The profit motive has won. They are racing to build God, and they have cut the brakes to get there faster. The Coup mystery and the Boardroom. Coup. This tension between profit and safety exploded in November 2023. The 5 days that shook the world. The board of directors fired Sam Altman. It was shocking. The board's job was to protect the nonprofit mission. They stated clearly he was not consistently candid. Rumors swirled about a secret breakthrough called Q-Star. Reports suggested OpenAI had achieved a new level of reasoning, something closer to human intelligence, and that Sam was pushing to commercialize it before they understood the risks. The board tried to pull the emergency brake. They tried to stop the car, but they failed. Microsoft and the investors revolted. The employees, their equity on the line, threatened to quit. Within 5 days, the coup was over. Sam Altman was back. The board members who fired him, the ones worried about safety, were purged. This was the final victory of the closed conspiracy. The nonprofit structure was effectively neutered. The safety hawks were gone. The investors were in charge. And just recently, in late 2024, the final nail was hammered in. OpenAI began restructuring to become a full-blown public benefit corporation, stripping the nonprofit of its control. The transition is complete. What this means for you. So, why does this matter to you? Why should you care if a company changes its business model? Because this isn't just software. This is the infrastructure of the future. By closing the source, OpenAI has centralized power. In the 1990s, the Internet won because it was open. No one owned HTTP. No one owned HTML. It belonged to everyone. But the AI Internet is being built on closed protocols. It belongs to OpenAI and Microsoft. This means they decide what is true. If their model is biased, your news is biased. It means they decide who gets to play. If they don't like your startup, they can cut off your API access. It means we become dependent. We are forgetting how to write, how to code, how to think. Outsourcing it all to a black box we are not allowed to open. The open in OpenAI is the greatest marketing trick of the 21st century. They use the promise of openness to get our data, our support, and our trust. And once they had it, they locked the door and sold the key. We are no longer the beneficiaries of this technology. We are just the users. And in the eyes of a closed-source monopoly, the user is just another resource to be mined.